So you have to come around here. Try to kind of bring up your hand, let me see. Alright, so you're gonna be in this zone here. Alright, so hold it. Alright, good morning everyone. So how is it that I share this link now? Oh, did I share the link? No, I did not. Alright, so share. Here we go now. So we're still live. Alright. Remember your privacy when you know all that. Alright. Okay, so good morning everyone. So we are going to be doing today we're going to be doing French. We're also going to be doing ombre, right? And we are going to be doing sculpture. Right, so it's French, ombre, and sculpture for today's class. Now, as is customary, we start by prepping the nails. This can zoom. Oh, it can. Oh, all right, so I'm practicing. So I could zoom little. And just make sure, say, all right. So we're gonna push back the nails. Well, we're not pushing back the nails. We are pushing back any dead skin that might be on the nail, right? Because if any of this is on the nail, it will prevent us from having a long lasting set. We're being very gentle to ensure that we are not cutting the client or causing any damage to the surface of the nail. The purpose is to remove the dead skin from the nail. All right. So we're only going to be, what do you say, your right hand? Sorry about that. And just sit down, Think that she there salon and get service done. All right. Now, when I am doing this step, there are different ways to do it. You can use a nail drill with a diamond bit to prep the nail. You can use your emery board to do this step, right? If I am pushing back, my preferred implement of choice is a metal pusher because it is able to push off the dead skin cells quickly and easily. All right. I'm happy for them. Morning, morning. Morning. Please don't make too much noise in my live. And come quickly. Morning. All right. So we're only going to be prepping 3 nails today. All right. Now the next thing we want to do quickly is to use to nip any hangnails that may be present. Now there is a whole trend of nipping away cuticles online. They call it the Russian. Well, they use the emery board and trim away. Now, when you're trimming, you should not be trimming the cuticle, but trimming any skin that may be hanging. Right? Now, trimming the cuticle will result in it growing back thicker. So you want to ensure that you are you're not doing that. right, so what you are basically nipping is any hangnails or any dead skin that would interfere with your application. So I am nipping. Right, only the dead skin. Now at this stage, we are going to etch the nail. Now, etching the nail, you see the shine that you're seeing on the nail? Etching the nail, all you're doing is removing that shine. In the process of etching the nail, if there's any dead skin or any debris left on the nail, you will use this step to remove them. All right, so we're going to be using a buffing block to do this step, and we are basically going side to side and around the cuticle to remove excess any shine from the nail, as well as any excess dead skin that we didn't remove when pushing back. Now, a point that I want you to note, that I'm going all the way up to the cuticle. Going all the way up to the cuticle ensures that there's no spot close to the cuticle that is missed. All right. If it is that you don't go all the way up to the cuticle, then you'll find that after laying your acrylic, you will have lifting at the cuticle. Right. So the chances of your application lasting longer will be reduced. All right, now at this stage, we want to remove any dust or debris from the nail. So we're just going to be spraying some alcohol on our brush, and we are going to be brushing down and across to remove any excess oils as well as any excess debris from the nail. All right. All right, so we're just removing this top layer of paper towel, and you keep multiple layers here to ensure that you're always able to work in a sanitary way. All right, so now we are going to apply our nail tips to 2 fingers, and we are going to apply our nail form to 1 finger. Now, first thing I want you to see is that, looking at her hand, how it is naturally, this finger is straight. This finger, it looks somewhat bent. Let's check it with our. All right, so this one not that bad. This one is somewhat straight too. But this one, do you see what has happened there? What you notice about this finger? It's bent this way. All right. So when we're putting on our tips, if we follow the finger and put on the tip this way, then what's gonna happen? It's gonna be lean. So when we're applying our tips, you want to imagine a line down the center of the nail and ensure that when you're putting on your tips, they are. So this one, what happened to this one? Like more nail on this side than this side. You see? Right. So you're going to imagine the center of the nail, and you ensure that your tip is straight. All right. When you put on the tips, it might look lean on the finger, but overall, when you finish your application, it will look straight. So for this one, instead of bringing the tip like this, the tip is going to be going like this. All right. So it's going to look like it's going that way. All right. So we are going to apply tip. All right. So we are gonna start out. Oh, this is not right. Put this back on. Sorry. So we're gonna start with you can there if because I had seen a pack that was out. That's it. Okay, great. All Alright, so generally speaking, when sizing the tips, you want to ensure that, oh, here's a number for you. You want to ensure that you're fitting the tip from sidewall to sidewall. Now, a common mistake that we make as beginners is to leave out a little piece at the side because you don't want the nails look broad, right? However, if your tip does not fit from sidewall to sidewall, what happens is that point where the natural nail is hanging out will act as a site of lifting, right? Also, because the natural nail is hanging out, when you start to do your balancing with your emery board, it is going to rub the natural nail and you can cause issues with how the nail grows, all right? Now, when sizing for a normal size hand, I like to start with a number 3, all right, for the middle finger, and then we go to a bigger number down to the little finger, and we go to a smaller number to the thumb. All right. So we're checking this tip. All right. So we notice that it fits. It goes from sidewall to sidewall. I want you to notice something. You realize that the tip is not sitting flat on the nail for both hands. You're seeing it clear, it close, right? All right, so we are going to customize this tip so that it's able to fit better. Now, if you look at my nails, you realize my side walls are long, right? But if you look at her nails, her side walls, some of them long, some of them short, some of them taper in. Now, if it is that we were putting this tip on my nail, because my side walls are straight, you realize the tip fits well, right? But with her, because in on this side, so this side fits okay, but this side, the cuticle is going in. What we will have to do is to use our nipper just to clip off that side, so that when you put the tip down, it fits well. All right. So that is for our middle finger. Now, when we go to the left or to the right, the size gets smaller by 1 or 2 sizes. All right. So if it is that we are you getting a smaller tip, the number gets bigger. So if you wanted a size that was one size smaller than 3, what would it be? 4.
Smaller?
Yes. So the 2 would be one size bigger, the 4 is one size smaller. 5 would be 2 sizes smaller. Now between the middle finger and the ring finger, it's normally 1 to 2 sizes smaller. Alright? So we are going to try a number 4 and a number 5. Alright. So we have the 4 here. Look at the 5 for me, please. Alright, we'll take out one for me. Alright, so this is the number 4. Alright, so we're checking it sidewall to sidewall. This looks okay to me, but I still want to test the 5 just so you can see the difference. Alright, so the 5 also seems to fit, right? But zoom in close at the side for me. Do you see that there? That like about 1.5 millimeter, that is, there's a space, right? So you want to ensure that you're avoiding that. So for the 4, you see it goes sidewall to sidewall and you're not seeing any space. But for the 5, when you put it in the center, it looks fine. But if I put it all the way, good morning, if I put it all the way to one side, you're seeing a space, alright? Now for the little finger, we're going to be doing the sculpture, so we're not going to be doing any tip on that nail. Can I cut those off, please? Alright, so we are going to apply our tips. Now for me, when I'm applying tips, I prefer to apply to the tips on the straighter fingers first, so that you can get more of an eye for what you're doing. So you apply your glue to the well of your tip, right? And you would position it at a 45-degree angle and rock forward. All right, so we're ensuring that we're following the finger, getting the nail as straight as possible, and then we press forward. Now for this nail, remember we said that we are not going to be following the finger, because if we follow the finger it would go that way. We're going to be putting it like this. Now another thing that you can do to ensure that the nail is straight is to look at the other nail. So when you put the other nail, it's supposed to line up with the other nail. You see? So when you're looking at it, if you notice that it's going towards it, then you know it's not correct. So it should be parallel. All right, so because this side no, because we have tilted it, it's not lying flat against the nail. We are going to use our nipple to just cut a little triangle. And you can use this for persons, nail biters who have very small nail beds, right? And or persons that have a triangular shaped nail. It's at 45-degree angle, and we're wrapping it forward. And we're trying to ensure that it matches up. Alright, so now while the glue is drying, we are going to get into placing our sculpture. Now, sculptured nails are truly amazing, and if we look at this client's thumb, she has what is called a club nail. A club nail is a nail that is much wider and shorter than usual. Now, if I try to fit the biggest nail on this finger, it will not fit. Alright? So generally speaking, as a nail technician, you need to know how to do sculpture, because in a case like this where you don't have a tip to fit her nail, you can sculpt one. Alright, so sculpture, you basically use a nail form. So today we'll be using this nail form here. It's important for you to invest in different types of nail forms, because the different nail forms have different shapes and allows you to achieve different effects with your sculpture nail. Now, so for this one, I just want to show you something real quick. If you look at this one, the nail form, it's too narrow for this nail. Can you see that? The nail is wider. So you might be saying to yourself, because it's wide, I can't use. But no, that's the beauty with nail forms. They are customizable. So what we would do is to actually use our scissors to extend the size of this nail form to allow it to fit her nail. All right. So customizability is one of the advantages of using a nail form. Now, when we try to fit this nail form onto the little finger, you will realize a similar thing. It's not able to fit. All right? And this is where a lot of persons get frustrated and then contort the nail form, and then the shape of the nail form is not sitting well on the nail, and it's very frustrating because they don't know what to do. Now, before doing sculpture nails, the first thing that you have to do is to, I know there's something still come out look on you. Yeah. What you have to do is to look at the nail. All right. Now, if you look at the nail, you notice that one, instead of being round, it's the hyponychium is going straight across. Right. And in addition to it going is to customize our nail form to be able to fit snugly under this area. So when we put our nail form on the nail like this, right, you will realize that you can put it at a slight angle. So the first thing we want to do is to use, so we're going to use the middle piece that comes with the nail form, and we are going to basically create a slight angle. Alright? So now when we put our nail form to the client's nail, it can go under. Alright? Everybody's seeing that. Now another thing that we do when using nail form is to create what is called kitten ears. Now kitten ears is basically where you snip out and you cut out. So when you snip it, so you first you measure it. So you place the center line on the center of the nail. So basically right here and right here, that's where you would snip. So you snip out slightly, just a little, on both sides. Alright, so, and then you would cut it out. So the reason why they call it kitten ears is because after you remove it, you remove the snips, and you look at it this way, it looks like a little cat. See? Looks like a little cat. Alright. Now, why do you want to do that? Now, cutting out those kitten ears allows the nail form to curve under the client's natural nails. Alright? So what you do is you fit it under the free edge, close the sides, right? So you realize it has gone underneath the client's natural nail, and then we close the ends, right? Want to ensure that it is as straight as possible, and then we seal it from underneath. Okay, let's go again. Now when you're sealing it, you have to be careful to ensure that it lines up properly, because if it doesn't, the nail form will twist and you will have to start over. So if it is that you make a mistake with the nail form, all you do is take it off and go again. You don't want to be there struggling with the nail form. Now, personally, what I like to do, because once I put it on, it's hard for me. I like to find the center loosely first. Before you put on the kitten ears, you have to actually find where they're supposed to go. You put it on, and then you will. And don't just go ahead and snip, because you place it to the width of the client's nail. So a client with a narrower nail, right? The kitten ears will be closer together. A client with a wider nail, they'll be further apart. So don't just randomly snip anywhere, you have to measure it first. Yeah. Center, pick the sides. And then you check it from the side. You don't want it to be tilting down, all right? So at this stage, you ease up the side, and you basically lift it, and then you reset the side to straighten the nail form, all right? Once it is straight, then you will continue to pinch underneath. All right? So that is your nail form. All right. So for today's set, we are going to be doing um, somewhat longer set. All right. So I just want us to be on the same level. So we are going to work to maybe about a level 4 or 5. We're going to do a level 5. All right. Here. So for persons who are OCD about their length, you can use the sculpture form to help you as a marker for your length. blend our tip. So you pinch back, and you file in. So for the purpose of today's session, we will not be changing the nail shape, we'll be maintaining a square. Right. So even though we're maintaining a square shape, remember at the side here, usually there's a little piece that needs to come off to allow your nails to look more streamlined. Always check the side. Now, when you are blending the tips, you don't file a natural nail. Remember that as nail technicians, for our clients to enjoy healthy nails, we need to keep the nail bed as healthy as possible. Now, the number one reason for damage to the nail is overfiling. You don't want to thin the nail too much because that will leave the nail susceptible to infection. Alright? Alright, so remind me what we're doing today, what techniques we're doing today. Alright, so sculpture, French, and ombre. Alright, so we're going to start with the sculptured nail, and then we will move on to the French and the ombre. Now, before we apply our product, first thing we need to do is to prime the nail. So when we're priming the nail, we only prime the natural nails. If it is that you apply primer to your nail tips, it will melt the tip and it will cause them to shrink, alright? So you want to ensure that you are applying when you are applying only to to the natural nail. Alright. So we are going to hold one of these and we're going to walk it over to here. Now for the sculptured nail, I'm going to be working with a clear application. Alright. It clear everything, so you've gone back so far.
You zoom.
No, but you better you come closer and zoom less, because if you zoom too much, it can go pixelated. Alright, remember this is a tip for you to pour on the curl of the brush to prevent any dripping of the product. The Somerville, could I get 2 Emery board? Alright, no problem. Alright, so as a reminder, remember when you are the number one thing that you need to master is your product ratio, right? And your product control. God. Hate it when that happens when you're ready to do it, don't you? Likewise, always move. Alright, it's okay. Alright, so when you are picking up your beads, go to the product. Go over to the brush. So you want to remember the angles. So low angle is a large bead, 45 degree, medium, high, 90, small. All right. You're always using one side of the brush to pick up your bead. So let's just go. So for long nails, you want to keep as much liquid in the brush as possible. So when we dip, we just tap the end. So low, 1, 2, 3, turn over, medium, 1, 2, 3, turn over, high, 1, 2, 3, turn over. Alright? So you should be able to take up a large, medium, and a small bead at will. Alright? More liquid in your brush, wetter bead. Less liquid in your brush, dry bead. Alright? Now for a sculptured nail, we want to have a medium, because we're going down with it, level 5 we're going down to, right? So we want a medium sized bead and we want it to be more on the dry side. Alright? So we're not going to keep a lot of liquid. So we dip the brush, but we are wiping from the belly to the tip, right? We are getting a larger bead, slightly dry, and we're placing our bead on the nail. Alright, so this is a little trick. So you realize the product was running, right? But you can hold it. Because as soon as you lay the product, it starts to cure. Alright? So you realize what I did was I held the product in place. So for my first bead, I want to establish two things. I want to establish the length of the nail, the shape of the nail for the first bead. So your first bead, you don't necessarily want it to be too thick. You just want to be able to define the shape and the length. Alright, everybody see that? So once we've done that, we're going in with our second. You never see, oh Lord, you have to go watch about this something. Once you've done that, now we're going in with our structural bead. Alright, so we're laying the bead right at the intersection between the nail form and the nail tip. Alright, draining out some of the liquid out of the brush so that it doesn't run. Placing the bead. Holding it in place to allow it to set up. So control of your product is, so you see now it's not running, now is the time I'm ready to start patting. So you make sure you pat it over to the sides, from side wall to side wall, and then you're patting it down the body of the nail. So you're not pulling, you're lightly tapping with the belly of your brush, the flat side, not the tip. If you use the tip, then what's going to happen? It's going to put pokes in the nail and it's going to be uneven. So you see me just gently walking the product down the length of the nail. Alright, you want to ensure that when you look down the barrel of the nail, the product is even. So on this side, I'm noticing I don't have as much product as I do on my right side is thinner than my left side. So I'm going to go in with another bead from the tip, draining out the liquid out of the brush, placing the bead at the tip, and we are going to brush it back. So the difference between this bead that we're now smoothing back and the first bead was for structure. This bead, we are using it to fill a gap. So you don't want it to get hard on you. You want it to be soft and smooth so you can fill in a gap. Alright? If it is that you have an area you want to fill and you are tapping and it starts to dry on you, then you start having the nail looking lumpy. Anybody have that experience? Yes. And then you start to get stressed out. And yeah, do that to you. And you know they changed the formulation. Alright, so we're going to continue up the nail and finish the nail. Now, doing your cuticle area, you want a small wet bead. All right. You can come closer for the cuticle bead. All right, good. Now what you want to happen is when you pick up your bead, you want it to flow towards the cuticle. So I'm placing my bead away from the cuticle and I'm holding the nail down, and you notice it spread towards the cuticle, and then I'm smoothing the rest of the product down the nail. Because we're working with the clear, you're not seeing it so. Thank you so much. Thanks, I appreciate it. All right. Now, if you look at the nail from the side, you realize the very cuticle area needs some more product. So we're going in again. All right, taking out some of the liquid out of the brush. Placing our bead close to the cuticle. Pushing it towards the cuticle. And then we're smoothing.
Good morning.
Good morning. All right. So that is our sculptured nail. So we're going to allow that to set up, and then we are going to move to our you always want to ensure that you catch the corners with your sculptured nail. If you don't, when you start to file, you're going to have issues. All right, so we're moving on to our ombre nail. All right, so for ombre, we're going to be using a bright color. So for this, we're going to need our color that we're going to be using at the base of our ombre. We're going to be needing our nude or pink color. So this is like a pinky nude. And we are going to be using our clear. All right. All right. So, so coming closer for me. All right. So in doing our ombre, we are going to start off with our color. All right. So the key to getting a nice ombre is to ensure that you have the top of the application being very flat with the color, and you build it up to a thicker end. That's clear. So that when you put on the nude color over it, it will just flow over and give you a nice blend. If it's lumpy, what will happen? You will have some lines, and it will not be smooth. All right. So we're going in with our color. This color is a little runny. Taking out some of the liquid out of the brush, and we are going to place it all right. So what we're doing here is we are touching the top of the color to kind of feather it out. Now your number one thing that you want to do is to control your product. So you realize that without me even touching it, the product is moving? That's what you want. You want gravity to pull the product down the nail. So I am just tapping lightly to guide the product all the way to the end of the nail, right? And in doing so, what is happening is you realize over here running more than here, and you realize I don't business, I'm not troubling it. You want to ensure that you're having an even flow down the nail. Once it's good for you, you can just cut off whatever excess is there. Huh? No man, it's just lack of experience. The first nails me to look like a civil orange, and my friend smile and say, I like it.
No, so my sister told me the truth to say what that.
It is. My friend never tell me the truth. She said, I like it, and then she got a nail tech and go make nail tech file it down for her. So you just have to know, say it now go perfect, and you just have to keep at it. Alright. So for our first bead, we have a nice flat smooth surface. Alright, you also want to ensure that while you're working, you're cleaning your sides so that you don't have any excess product accumulating under the nail. So now we're going to get into our fade for ombre. Alright, so with longer nails, your stress area and your French and your ombre, it will fall a little bit lower on the nail. So you notice that for this nail that doesn't have on the tip, this is where our hypernicum is, right? Now the French wouldn't go here. It would go a little bit further down to here. So the French would extend down past the natural free edge, all right? So the same thing is going to apply for your ombre. So the fade wouldn't happen up here. The fade would happen somewhere down here, all right? So what we're going to do is we are going to place our bead right above where we want our fade to be. Now, when you're working, you're going to notice something that the structure is going to be thrown off slightly. So work, instead of working with a bigger bead, work with a small to medium sized bead. So we place it right above where we want our fade to be. Ensure it goes from side wall to side wall. And then we just use our brush to drag yourself to drag out the end of our fade, so we get it nice and smooth. All right, so once we've gotten that and we're comfortable with the fade, if it is that you wanted to add more color somewhere, you could. Right, I'm okay with that as is. Then we're going to continue up the nail, but you're ensuring now that you're working with smaller beads so you don't overflood that fade that you created. If you have flooding, you just use your brush, wipe it.
Alright.
Going up again towards the cuticle.
Just keep it to fuck on your yard with that brush. You just have to take care of them, you know.
A paintbrush you ever use?
Exactly. Just
If you that one was too small. Come again? It depends on what you're doing. Alright. So you're basically allowing it to spread towards the cuticle, and then you are blending back. Alright, so now what you want to do is at every stage you are assessing the nail. So if you look right here, you notice that there's a little spot that, so over here is nice and filled in, over here not so much. So we're going in with a tiny little bead. You can go on MKRD's Instagram and check. How much time I go say the same thing over and over. Alright, now if you look at the nail from the side, you will notice that there is now a dip. Alright? So you have product here and then there's a dip here because you just fade out the fade quickly. So what we're going to do now to balance back the structure of the nail is to encapsulate it with the clear. So we're going in with a clear bead. We're laying it right at the faded area. We're brushing back while holding the nail down, and then we are keeping the product to balance the structure of the nail. What size? Look at the size.
I think it's medium. Oh, no, no, no. How are them expensive? No, it's not expensive. I just said it's sent from a picture. I'm not a picture of this. This is just not my specialty. No, not a specialty.
Well, that's why you're at school, so it can become your specialty.
This is what you fit down and become my specialty. You drop them,
Huh? If you're, well, a lot of people come here because them like one thing, and they realize that when them touch the road, another thing they in a demand, and them end up and make whole heap of money from the one thing where them never like, couldn't stand, never see the point of, can't stand the teacher, right? And that's what them end up and gonna make them money from. So don't ever lock yourself into a box saying that I know this you come for. So what, the nails?
Yeah, but no, make change my mind.
Yeah, change your mind. Well,
But start practicing just never that work.
oh, so because you try it and it don't work, that means you're gonna change your mind. That sounds like a bad idea. I soon look at it for you. But yeah, go on. Soon give some corrections. Alright, let's do the French now. Alright, so with the French, we are gonna be doing a reverse. You can't hate it. Now the key is for you to have a perfect ball. So you want the ball to be working for you. So you realize when I drop my bead and it starts to settle in, what shape does it have? It has an oval shape. So that oval shape, oh Lord, come closer. So what you're going to be doing now is to be blending the front of the bead and controlling your shape. Now this is where a lot of persons go wrong. You want to ensure that you have a wall. Why this thing choose to come give me problems now, God? You want to ensure that you have a wall around the edge of your nail that you can rest another color in. This thing here come to give me trouble today to show you.
No, that's not the only way, but the way easy.
Alright, so this way is the best way to do it, and let me tell you why. So you could put on the colored part at the bottom first and to dig out a well inside. However, when you do it that way, you cannot go back and perfect your edge. So when we have done this now, good morning. When we have done this, what we are gonna do next, all right, so you realize that anybody have their charger on them, can lend me so that my phone doesn't die.
So type C
during, yes, type C. All right, so what I want you to observe is that, turn your hand to the side. When you look at the nail from the side, you are seeing that little wall. All right, this little wall here is what's going to be the key to your French. So yes, you want to get the shape like that, but you also want to get the wall going right around. If it's rounded, what's going to happen is that your product, the nail, plug in, your nail will, sorry, what may I say? The acrylic will not have anything to stop it, so it will flow over and you won't get that sharp French. All right. So we're gonna refine that after. We're just gonna go up and finish the top. So we're going in with cuticle bead. Pushing it towards the cuticle. Now, when you're starting out with nails, please do not feel bad if it's not working right away. No, don't feel bad. Huh? No, don't feel bad because see, even me that been doing nails for years, it still give trouble sometimes because this thing a farm of fool like itself. If it is that you are not calm, you're not comfortable and relaxed, and you focus completely on what you're doing, you're going to have errors. Nails is about relaxing and taking your time and doing what you're doing patiently. All right, so don't be hard on yourself.
Oh, so you're not